She thinks it's wonderfully poetic that black people are prosecuting Trump. I think it's not poetic at all. The whole thing seems unconstitutional to me. I want to check in with Mike Davis. He's founder of the Article 3 Project. Check them out at article3project.org. And Mike Davis, welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You bet. So we've had 2 days of jury selection. There was all sorts of talk going on. Folks from CNN and the New York Times were having a field day saying Trump was asleep. He was this, he was that. He was murmuring things because he disagreed with some of the jurors, and the judge even used that as an opportunity to say he was trying to intimidate a juror, which seems like a stretch to me. What can you tell us about this process?
It is a completely rigged process by these Democrat prosecutors and these Democrat judges and these Democrat witnesses and these Democrat hellholes like New York, D.C., and Atlanta to wage lawfare against the leading presidential candidates and to interfere in the 2024 election. I spent 2 days up in New York City this week outside of the courthouse reporting on this. And you have this Democrat prosecutor, this George Soros-funded Democrat prosecutor in Manhattan, Alvin Bragg, who campaigned on getting Trump, who brought these bogus charges against Trump that are at best time-barred bookkeeping violations for a businessman paying off a nuisance claim and put it into the books in the wrong category. And somehow we have 34 felony charges against a former president and the leading presidential candidate after the prior Manhattan DA, Cy Vance, the Manhattan U.S. Attorney, the Federal Election Commission, and Alvin Bragg himself declined to bring these charges. And then Matthew Colangelo got deployed from the Biden Justice Department, a senior political appointee, the number 3 in the Biden Justice Department, got deployed to Bragg's office to resurrect this zombie case against Trump. And they did this and they timed it perfectly to have a trial right now for the next 2 months where Trump is stuck in a courtroom under the threat of going to jail if he leaves the courtroom for the next 2 months instead of being on the campaign trail. And they brought this before this Manhattan Democrat judge, Juan Merchan, who donated to Biden in 2020, donated to another anti-Trump cause, whose adult daughter, Lauren Merchan, is a top Democrat consultant and fundraiser who has raised $100 million off of this criminal prosecution that her father's leading. This is obviously Democrat lawfare. It's obviously election interference. This Judge Merchan rigged the jury questionnaire so people who support Trump have to state that so they can get struck through the process, but the people who support Biden don't. You have this jury pool in Manhattan that's 85% against Trump. This is a completely rigged process. It's Democrat lawfare. It's Democrat election interference, and it's part of the Democrats' campaign to take out Trump.
Now, Mike Davis, I know that you were a law clerk to Supreme Court Justice Gorsuch, and you've got a ton of experience with this stuff. When looking at this, and you've laid it out wonderfully, that it's a wholly rigged process. With that being said, do you see any remedy for this in the actual process that's there, or does this just have to take its course and file an appeal and potentially make its way to a higher court?
There's no question that this Democrat prosecutor and this Democrat judge and this rigged jury selection with these bogus charges, there's no question they're going to find Trump guilty. There's no question this judge will convict. The New York appellate courts, which are stacked with Democrat judges, will probably uphold that conviction, and it will have to be dealt with on appeal in the Supreme Court of the United States. But in the meantime, the way this lawfare ends, whether it's this bogus trial in New York for settling a nuisance claim, whether it's the January 6th cases in D.C. by Jack Smith as Biden's special counsel, or with Fannie Willis down in Georgia, big Fannie Willis down in Georgia, these corrupt prosecutions. You have Tish James with her civil fraud lawsuit for non-fraud for paying back sophisticated Wall Street banks on time as agreed in full with interest. The only way this ends is on November 5th, 2024, when American voters say, we are not going to let these Democrat prosecutors and judges and juries and these Democrat hellholes pick our next president. We, the people, get to pick our president.
Folks, we're on with Mike Davis from the Article 3. He's the founder of the Article 3 Project. Check them out at article3project.org. And Mike Davis, I want you to stick with us when we come back. I want to get your take on the other cases and what potentially those look like between and November. I know there were some scholars and experts out there saying that they didn't think that any of these cases would make it to trial before Election Day. Lo and behold, here we are. So I'm wondering what other types of hurdles the Democrats are willing to jump to expedite this. Folks, we're coming right back with Mike Davis. Don't go anywhere.
This is America at Night with Rich Valdés.
Congratulations on this amazing show. I know you've worked so hard in the industry and nobody deserves it more than you do. So I'm happy to see you really succeeding here. It's awesome.
America at Night with Rich Valdés.
All right, America, welcome back. And we are on with Mike Davis, founder of the Article 3 Project. And I want you all to hear a cut of somebody we've had on this program before, Stephen A. Smith. He's a sportscaster, and he on his podcast yesterday, he says that the liberals are scared that they can't beat Trump at the ballot box, so they need to put him in jail. And I think it's pretty interesting when you have, a sports commentator weighing in on the political process here, and it's incredibly obvious, in my opinion. Listen to this.
To my liberal friends out there, all you're doing is showing that you're scared you can't beat them on the issues and the merits. That's why he keeps saying it's a political campaign against me. That's why he keeps saying they can't beat me at the election, at the polls. This is the only way they could do it. And if you don't put him in jail, and he still goes from being the presumptive GOP nominee to the official GOP nominee, and he goes to the polls, even though he was going to whine about winning and being rigged again, you have given more fodder to that argument, which means we'll never have peace in this country because tens of millions of people see what extent the other side is willing to go through just to keep him out of office because they can't beat him on their own merits. And they're going to say, hey, you trumped this up against him again, and we'll have no peace. When all you got to do is figure out a way to beat him on the issues. But you haven't been able to do it.
So that's Stephen A. Smith on his podcast. Mike Davis, do you agree? It sounds like you do.
I agree 100% that the Democrats are running election interference. They're running lawfare. I've been saying this since the unprecedented, unnecessary, unlawful raid on the office of former president in Mar-a-Lago for presidential records. President Trump is allowed by federal statute, by the Presidential Records Act, to have, and that led to an espionage charge by Biden Attorney General Merrick Garland and his henchman, Special Counsel Jack Smith. They're running lawfare on 4 different criminal prosecutions, and it's because these Democrats fear they can't beat President Trump on November 5th, 2024. And all they're doing with this lawfare, we've been fighting this. Over 3,000 media hits, constant social media, constant opinion pieces. We've been fighting this. We've been the tip of the spear. We were the only people out there fighting this for the first 6 months after the Mar-a-Lago raid at the Article 3 Project. And we've been predicting all along that this is going to backfire. It's going to backfire badly on the Democrats, and they're going to put them back in the White House with this lawfare and election interference. If they would have just let President Trump retire, he may not be the nominee right now. With this lawfare, with this election interference, they have guaranteed that he's the nominee. They are almost certainly guaranteeing that he's back in the White House.
Yeah, Mike Davis, I think you're right. And I'm wondering from your perspective, I know that you guys have been very active with what's going on here. Tell me, with the other cases that we see, do you think that they're going to try and put the rush on these things so that they can also bring these to trial prior to Election Day, or is this their all eggs in one basket, full speed ahead in New York?
Look, they tried to stack the criminal prosecutions, the 4 unprecedented criminal prosecutions, back to back to back, starting in January of this year through the election. They wanted Trump in the courtroom instead of on the campaign trail. President Trump hired superb attorneys who raised really compelling legal arguments that the Supreme Court is going to consider. The Supreme Court considered the Fisher case yesterday. That's two of Jack Smith's 4 criminal charges against Trump are going to be probably thrown out after the Fisher case that the Supreme Court's deciding on January 6 cases, though Supreme Court will decide that before the end of June. And then you have the Supreme Court on April 25th hear an oral argument on presidential immunity, whether the President of the United States is immune from criminal prosecution for his official acts as president, not his personal acts, his official acts. Judges have criminal immunity and civil immunity. Members of Congress have criminal immunity and civil immunity. Right now, the president just has civil immunity based upon a precedent from 40 years ago, the Nixon case. But the Supreme Court has not decided whether presidents are immune from criminal prosecution for their official acts, because no president has ever been charged before Biden Democrats brought these unprecedented, bogus criminal prosecutions against Trump. I think the Supreme Court's going to side with President Trump on presidential immunity and say that, yes, the president, like members of Congress, like judges, are immune from criminal prosecution for their official acts. Otherwise, the Trump 47 Justice Department could indict President Obama and charge him with capital murder for his drone strike on 2 American citizens, including a minor. Or the Trump 47 Justice Department could charge Biden with the illegal mass parole of illegal immigrants into our country and the resulting rapes and murders that were natural and probable from that illegal mass parole. I think Democrats don't understand these are Republic-ending tactics. This lawfare, this election interference, these are Republic-ending tactics by these Democrats, because it's not going to end if Trump goes away. Trump is just in their way. And this is how the Roman Republic fell, when you brought this lawfare by these Senates, these Roman insiders against Caesar, and Caesar felt like he had no other option than to cross the Rubicon from Gaul into Rome, and it led to the fall of the Roman Republic. I'm not saying America's going into civil war, but this lawfare, this election interference, is going to lead to a legal tit-for-tat, back and forth between the parties that will destroy the presidency and therefore destroy our country and destroy our world. And so this cannot happen. The American people need to say hell no on November 5th, 2024, and end this.
Yeah, well put, Mike Davis. And I think that particular case, the presidential immunity and all that, I think you're right. It's a double-edged sword. It's even where Roberts would have no wiggle room, and he loves to have a lot of wiggle room. I don't think it, because this is so much bigger than Trump, right? This is whatever they just, if they punt now, then is in effect them taking no action, which can hurt people in the future, Democrats, right? So I think it's something that has to be answered now. But the other case in Georgia, how do you think that one ends up?
That's a good question. That's where you have Big Fannie Willis down there, this Fulton County DA who campaigned on getting Trump like the rest of them. She hired her big, dumb, unqualified boyfriend, Nathan Wade, to be the special prosecutor. Paid him $250 an hour. He billed like $700,000, and she took illegal kickbacks. Big Fannie became the Grey Goose Girl. She said she's a Grey Goose Girl. She took on these trips around the world. She had an illegal financial stake in this criminal prosecution. It is a bogus prosecution. It is not a crime to object to a presidential election. That's allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887. Democrats objected to Republican wins in 1968, 2000, 2004, and 2016. You don't see Al Gore and John Kerry and Hillary Clinton in prison for objecting to Republican wins. It's also allowed by the First Amendment to object and to twist arms politically. This is bogus. This is a bogus theory in all four of these criminal prosecutions, what they're doing to Trump. Jack Smith also charged Trump with January 6th charges in D.C. in front of a D.C. Obama judge, Tanya Chutkan, with a 95% Democrat jury pool in D.C. This is intentional. This is coordinated. Joe Biden has his fingerprints on all four of these criminal prosecutions. All four of them, Joe Biden's staff met with these criminal prosecutors. Matthew Colangelo got deployed from the Biden Justice Department for Bragg's case. Jonathan Sue, Biden's deputy White House counsel, waived Trump's claim of executive privilege on the two Jack Smith cases, and Nathan Wade met with the Biden White House and Biden White House counsel. He billed his time 16 hours before that indictment. This is Biden lawfare against Trump.
Mike Davis, I want you to stick with us. I want to come right back to you and just make sure the audience knows everything about the Article 3 Project and how to find you and support the work that you're doing. Folks, we're coming right back with Mike Davis, founder of the Article 3 Project.
This is America at Night with Rich Valdés. America at Night with Rich Valdés.
All right, familia, welcome back. Amigos, we continue with Mike Davis, founder of the Article 3 Project. And Mike Davis, tell us about the Article 3 Project. I want everybody listening to know the important work that you're doing out there.
Yeah, we've been the tip of the spear defending Trump against this lawfare and election interference, going back to the Mar-a-Lago raid, and a lot of other Republicans and conservatives, particularly Republican and conservative lawyers, ran and hid. So we have defended him constantly. We've done over 3,000 media hits defending Trump. We've done constant social media, constant opinion pieces, and we've changed the politics. We've turned lemons into lemonade on this. Our main fight is the judiciary to confirm constitutionalist judges. We help President Trump confirm his constitutionalist judges and defend those judges when they get to the bench. They have lifetime tenure. They have pay protection. They're not supposed to care about the politics, but they're still humans. And so when they get attacked, like the left constantly attacks Clarence Thomas, for example, we're out there punching back. We have the insider experience, and we bring the outsider fight. And so we're very effective. We're lean and mean, and we're fighting every day for conservative judges and for President Trump.
Outstanding. And Mike Davis, people who want to support the work that you're doing and learn more about it, where do they go?
I appreciate that. You can go to article3project.org, article number 3project.org. You can donate there.
Outstanding. Mike Davis, you are a gentleman, a scholar, and a patriot. I appreciate you being here with us tonight.
Thank you.